Unshakable Peace, Your Defense Against Name-Calling and Negativity, by David Russo. Introduction, Rising Above the Noise. In life, we all face moments when others try to tear us down. Words can sting. Names can wound. Criticism can shake our confidence. Sometimes it comes from strangers, sometimes from people we care about, and sometimes it hits when we least expect it. In those moments, it can feel as if the world is against us, and it's easy to let negativity seep into our hearts. But what if there was another way? What if the insults, the criticism, and the conflicts weren't meant to break us, but to teach us? What if they were invitations to grow stronger, wiser, and more grounded in peace? This book is about exactly that, rising above the noise, protecting your spirit, and transforming negativity into power. Your defense from name-calling is not just about handling other people. It's about handling yourself. It's about learning to respond with faith instead of fear, with calm instead of anger, and with love instead of retaliation. You will learn why people say hurtful things, what it reveals about them, and, more importantly, how you can keep your peace no matter what comes your way. Through these pages, you'll discover principles rooted in wisdom, spirituality, and practical life experience. You'll learn how to strengthen your mind, protect your heart, and grow into someone unshakable, someone who doesn't just survive life's challenges, but thrives through them. You'll explore the power of positivity, the importance of forgiveness, and the profound truth that the world around you often mirrors what's inside you. This book is for anyone who has felt the sting of harsh words, for anyone who has been misunderstood or mistreated, and for anyone who wants to rise above negativity without compromising their faith or integrity. It is a guide for building inner strength, cultivating peace, and becoming a light in a world that often seems dark. By the time you finish reading, you won't just know how to handle criticism, you'll understand how to transform it into wisdom. You'll realize that your peace is your power, your calm is your strength, and your response is your message. You will be equipped to walk through life with your head held high, unshaken by words that once might have hurt you. So open your heart, steady your mind, and prepare to rise above. This journey will teach you how to protect yourself from negativity, embrace your own inner strength, and become a living example of grace, faith, and resilience. It's time to stop letting words control you and start controlling the way you respond to the world. It's time to rise. Chapter 1. The Power of Inner Peace. Peace is not something that happens by accident. It is a choice, a decision you make every single day when you decide not to be shaken by the opinions, insults, or moods of others. Inner peace is your spiritual armor. It protects you from the arrows of negativity and keeps your focus where it belongs, on God, your growth, and your purpose. When someone calls you a name or says something cruel, it's easy to take it personally. But the truth is, their words are rarely about you. What people project outward is often a reflection of what's happening inside them. Someone who is hurting will often try to hurt others. Someone who feels small may try to make others feel smaller. They may not even realize they're doing it. It's their pain speaking through them. Recognizing this truth allows you to stop taking their actions to heart. When you hold on to peace, you take away their power. You are no longer a puppet pulled by someone else's emotions. Instead, you become grounded, calm, and strong. The moment you decide, "This won't shake me," you begin to rise above the situation. It's not weakness, it's mastery. It takes far more strength to stay calm than it does to lash out. God calls us to be peacemakers, not peace takers. When your heart is aligned with love, patience, and understanding, you reflect divine strength. Those who walk with God don't need to defend their worth, because their worth is already established. When you react with anger or defensiveness, you step out of that peace. But when you remain calm, you stay within the flow of grace. You choose to be light instead of matching darkness. Think of peace like a still pond. When you allow anger or offense to enter, the water ripples, distorting the reflection. But when you stay calm, your reflection, your true self, remains clear. No matter what someone throws into your pond, you can choose to let it sink without disturbing the surface. That's inner peace. Holding your peace doesn't mean ignoring injustice or pretending words don't sting. It means you decide how deeply they enter. It's acknowledging your emotions without letting them control you. It's reminding yourself that your energy is too precious to waste on every insult or ignorant comment that comes your way. Peace is power because it keeps your focus on your destiny, not on distractions. The more you practice peace, the stronger it becomes. You start to notice that what once upset you now barely touches you. You begin to smile where you once would have shouted. That's not indifference, that's growth. That's you stepping into maturity, wisdom, and spiritual strength. Peace doesn't mean passivity, it means clarity. When you are peaceful, you can think clearly, choose wisely, and act from love instead of fear. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop defending and start discerning. You become the calm in the storm, not the one swept up by it. Remember, no one can steal your peace unless you hand it to them. Guard it like treasure, because when your peace is strong, no insult, no name, and no negativity can break you. You become a living example of grace, and that, more than any words, is what true strength looks like. Chapter 2. It's not about you. One of the most freeing realizations you can ever have is this. When someone mistreats you, mocks you, or calls you names, it's not really about you. It's about them. Their words come from their own pain, their own fears, and their own insecurities. Once you truly understand this, you stop carrying the weight of other people's behavior. You no longer give their words permission to define you. People act out from the condition of their heart. Someone who is at peace inside will naturally speak peace. Someone who is bitter will often speak bitterness. Hurt people hurt people. When you see someone lash out, instead of getting angry or defensive, try to see through the surface. Ask yourself, what must this person be going through to feel the need to say that? That simple question can turn frustration into compassion. It shifts your focus from reaction to understanding. When a person criticizes you, what they say may sound personal, but it often reveals more about their inner world than about your actions. Maybe they feel overlooked, jealous, or powerless, and tearing you down gives them a temporary sense of control. Maybe they grew up in environments where harsh words were normal, so they repeat what they learned. None of that excuse is bad behavior, but it helps you realize you don't have to take ownership of it. You are not responsible for someone else's wounds. You are only responsible for how you respond. The enemy's goal is always to distract, to pull you away from your peace, your calling, and your connection with God. Every time you take the bait and react to someone's negativity, you lose focus on what really matters. That's why it's so important to recognize the difference between your truth and their projection. Their words are just noise trying to draw you away from your purpose. You don't need to attend every argument you're invited to. Some battles are won by walking away. Think about Jesus. How many times was he misunderstood, insulted, and mocked? Yet, he didn't let the opinions of others shake him. He knew who he was and what his mission was. That's the same strength you can develop. When you know your worth comes from God, no insult can take it away. The more secure you are in your identity, the less you need validation from anyone else. You no longer feel the need to prove your value because you already know it. Here's the truth. When people speak negatively toward you, they're often fighting with themselves. They may be seeing in you something they wish they had: confidence, peace, kindness, or light. Sometimes your calm presence exposes their chaos, and it makes them uncomfortable. But that discomfort isn't your fault. It's simply their spirit recognizing something higher in you. Don't dim your light to make others feel better about staying in the dark. Instead, keep shining and let your peace become a mirror that gently shows them a better way. When you no longer take things personally, life becomes lighter. You stop giving your energy to what doesn't deserve it. You stop replaying hurtful moments in your mind. Instead, you smile, say a silent prayer for the person, and move forward. That's how you win, not by fighting fire with fire, but by refusing to burn. So, the next time someone calls you a name or tries to put you down, take a deep breath and remind yourself, this is not about me. Let those words fall to the ground without entering your spirit. When you rise above the insult, you rise closer to peace. When you stay grounded in truth, you become untouchable. And when you live from that place of strength, you stop absorbing people's pain and start transforming it with love. Chapter 3. The Trap of Overreaction. When someone says something hurtful or disrespectful, your first instinct might be to react, to defend yourself, correct them, or match their tone. It's human nature. But reacting without thinking is exactly what gives their negativity power over you. Overreaction is a trap, one designed to pull you out of peace and into conflict. And once you fall into it, it can take your time, your focus, and even your joy. The truth is, not every comment deserves a response. Not every insult requires a defense. When you allow someone's words to dictate your emotions, you hand them control over your spirit. Suddenly, their bad day becomes your bad day. Their anger becomes your distraction. Their negativity becomes your burden. That's how overreaction steals your peace. It hooks you emotionally and keeps you stuck in a battle that was never worth fighting. Have you ever noticed how quickly an argument can spiral? One person says something sharp, the other snaps back, and before long, both sides are angry and wounded. Words have power, and once spoken in anger, they can't be taken back. This is why self-control is so important. It's not weakness to stay calm, it's wisdom. Proverbs 15 verse 1 reminds us, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." When you respond calmly, you stop the fire from spreading. Overreacting also distracts you from what truly matters. It pulls you away from your goals, your growth, and your connection to God. You could be using that same energy to create, to pray, to build something meaningful, but instead, it gets wasted in conflict. That's exactly what negativity wants, to knock you off balance. But when you keep your composure, you show that you're the one in control, not your emotions, not the situation, and certainly not the person trying to provoke you. Think of your peace like a precious house with a strong door. Every time you overreact, you're opening that door and inviting chaos to come in. But when you choose to stay calm, you keep that door locked. You protect your peace, your focus, and your energy. You send a clear message, not just to others, but to yourself, that you value your inner stillness too much to give it away cheaply. Sometimes silence is the loudest response. When you don't engage, you don't add fuel to the fire. People who thrive on drama eventually get bored when they realize they can't provoke you. Your calmness becomes your strength, your boundaries become your protection, and your peace becomes your testimony. Over time, you'll notice that situations which once upset you no longer have the same effect. That's growth. That's spiritual maturity. Of course, staying calm doesn't mean you suppress your feelings or pretend you're not hurt. It means you take time to process before you act. You can pray about it, breathe through it, or write it out, but you don't need to react immediately. Reacting is impulsive, responding is intentional. When you respond from a place of peace, your words carry more wisdom and less regret. Remember, people who try to provoke you are looking for attention or validation. Don't give it to them. You're not obligated to attend every argument you're invited to. Instead, rise above it. Keep your mind on your goals and your heart fixed on God. When you feel anger rising, pause and remind yourself, I'm not going to lose my peace over this. That single choice can change everything. Overreaction is the enemy's bait, but you don't have to take it. You can choose calm over chaos, patience over pride, and peace over pain. When you do, you become unshakable, someone who lives with quiet strength, steady focus, and divine grace. That's true power. Chapter 4, Don't Wrestle with Pigs. There's an old saying, never wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, and the pig likes it. It might sound humorous, but it carries deep wisdom. When you engage in arguments or negativity with people who are intent on dragging you down, you only lose your peace and dignity in the process. Some people thrive on drama, conflict, and chaos. They don't want resolution, they want reaction. And when you step into their arena, you play their game on their terms. That's when you lose sight of who you are. Wrestling with a pig means allowing yourself to be pulled into low, negative energy, into gossip, insults, or endless back-and-forth debates that lead nowhere. You can't reason with someone who doesn't want peace. You can't convince someone to see your heart if they're committed to misunderstanding you. It's like trying to explain light to someone who insists on staying in the dark. You'll only exhaust yourself trying. The wisest thing you can do is step away, keep your peace, and let your actions speak louder than words ever could. The world will always have people who test your patience, challenge your boundaries, or provoke you just to see how you'll react. But remember, your reaction is your responsibility. When you respond with grace, silence, or a calm word, you win without even fighting. Walking away doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're wise. It means you value your peace more than your pride. Pride wants to prove a point, but peace wants to protect your purpose. There are moments when silence is stronger than any argument. Your calmness can unsettle those who seek chaos because it shows them they no longer have power over you. Imagine someone hurling insults your way and you simply smile, turn around, and continue walking toward your goals. That's strength. That's spiritual authority. You're saying, I don't belong in the mud. I was made for higher ground. Proverbs 26 verse 4 offers timeless wisdom. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him. This doesn't mean you should look down on others. It means you should recognize when engaging will only drag you down to a level where peace can't survive. Some people are only content when others are upset with them. But if you refuse to engage, they lose their power. The battle ends before it even begins. When you find yourself tempted to respond harshly, pause and ask, is this worth my energy? Will this help me grow or just make me bitter? 9 times out of 10, walking away is the stronger choice. It takes wisdom to realize that peace is not found in proving yourself. It's found in knowing yourself. You don't need to win every argument. You just need to keep your spirit clean and your focus forward. Think of life as a long journey toward your purpose. Every time you stop to wrestle with negativity, you delay your own progress. Like Winston Churchill said, if you stop to throw stones at every dog that barks, you'll never reach your destination. The world is full of barking voices, but not every sound deserves your attention. Keep walking. Keep your eyes on your path. Let your peace speak for you. You were not made to wrestle in the mud. You were made to walk in the light. Don't let someone else's immaturity make you forget your identity. Stay focused, stay kind, and stay calm. When you rise above the noise, you remind the world that true power doesn't come from proving others wrong. It comes from mastering yourself. Let the pigs play in the mud. You have far greater places to go. Chapter 5. Keep your focus forward. Life is a journey filled with opportunities, challenges, and distractions. Along the way, there will always be people who misunderstand you, criticize you, or try to pull you off course. But your strength lies in keeping your eyes on your destination, not the distractions along the road. That means you can't afford to waste your energy on every comment, insult, or negative person that crosses your path. Your focus is too valuable to give away. Distraction is one of the enemy's most subtle weapons. It doesn't always show up as something evil. It often comes disguised as conflict, gossip, or unnecessary drama. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can simply distract you. He knows that if you're busy defending yourself, you won't have time to build yourself. That's why it's so important to stay focused. Every time you choose peace over reaction, you're saying, my destiny matters more than my pride. Think of your life like a road trip. You have a vision of where you want to go, a dream, a calling, a goal. If you stop every time someone honks at you or calls out something rude from their window, you'll never get very far. You'll end up frustrated, tired, and behind schedule. But if you keep your eyes on the road and your heart on your purpose, nothing can stop you. The noise fades behind you as you move forward toward the life God created for you. Focus is a spiritual discipline. It's not just about ignoring distractions. It's about remembering what truly matters. When you stay grounded in gratitude, purpose, and faith, your energy naturally flows toward growth and peace. When you lose focus, your energy scatters. You start worrying about what people think, trying to prove your worth, or replaying negative conversations in your head. But none of those things bring peace. They only keep you stuck where you were instead of moving toward where you're meant to be. Sometimes, the best response to negativity is progress. When someone doubts you, keep building. When someone mocks you, keep moving. When someone underestimates you, keep shining. Nothing confuses your critics more than your consistency. Your quiet dedication speaks louder than any defense ever could. Remember, success and peace are the best forms of response. You don't need to explain yourself when your growth does it for you. It's also important to recognize that focus is not just about what you look at, but what you look away from. You can't stare at both the problem and the promise at the same time. If you constantly fix your eyes on who hurt you or what went wrong, you'll keep reliving pain instead of releasing it. But when you lift your eyes toward what's ahead, toward faith, healing, and new opportunities, you begin to rise. God didn't place your future behind you, so stop looking back. Keeping your focus forward requires discipline and faith. It means trusting that God sees the bigger picture, even when you don't. It means knowing that every distraction, delay, and detour can still serve a divine purpose if you don't give up. You may not control what others say or do, but you always control where you put your attention. And wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. So the next time someone tries to provoke you or pull you into negativity, smile and remember where you're headed. Don't stop to argue. Don't turn around to prove your point. Just keep walking forward, calm, confident, and covered in peace. Because when your eyes are fixed on your purpose, no insult, no distraction, and no obstacle can stop what God has planned for you. Keep your focus forward. The noise will fade, the hurt will heal, and your purpose will shine brighter than ever. Chapter 6: Strength in Stillness. In a world that often glorifies noise, movement, and reaction, stillness can seem like weakness. But in truth, stillness is one of the greatest forms of strength. It is the ability to remain calm when everything around you is trying to shake you. It's the quiet confidence that says, I know who I am, and I don't need to prove it. Strength in stillness is not about doing nothing. It's about choosing peace when you could choose chaos, about staying centered when the world is pulling you in 100 directions. When someone says something hurtful or unfair, your first instinct might be to defend yourself, to explain, or to fight back. But every time you react impulsively, you give a piece of your power away. Stillness reclaims that power. It's the space between stimulus and response, the sacred pause where wisdom lives. In that space, you give yourself time to breathe, pray, and see clearly before you act. That's where true strength comes from, not from reacting quickly, but from responding wisely. There's a kind of peace that comes only when you trust that you don't need to fix or control everything. God sees what you can't. He knows the truth even when others twist the story. When you remain still, you're saying, I trust God to fight this battle for me. That's not passivity, it's faith. It's believing that peace is more powerful than pride, that silence can speak louder than shouting, and that still waters really do run deep. Think of a calm lake. When the wind stirs, ripples appear, but beneath the surface, the water remains steady. That's how your spirit can be when you cultivate stillness. People may try to disturb your peace, but you don't have to let their words sink into your soul. You can let them pass over you without changing who you are. When you learn to be still, you become unshakable, like a tree whose roots go deep enough to withstand any storm. Stillness doesn't mean the absence of emotion. It means mastering your emotions so they don't master you. You can acknowledge pain, anger, or disappointment without letting them dictate your behavior. You can feel deeply and still respond gently. That is emotional maturity, and it's one of the most powerful displays of inner strength you can ever show. Jesus modeled this kind of strength throughout his life. When he was mocked, accused, and even betrayed, he didn't lash out. He stood in truth and silence, anchored in his purpose. That's the kind of spiritual stillness we are called to practice, not to prove ourselves to others, but to honor the peace within us that comes from God. In moments of conflict, the still person often appears the strongest. Others may shout, accuse, or stir drama, but the one who remains calm shines with quiet authority. People eventually notice that energy. They realize they can't provoke you anymore because you've found something greater than the need to win. You've found peace. And peace will always speak for itself. You'll discover that stillness is not the absence of action, it's the presence of direction. When you are still, you hear God's voice more clearly. You sense his guidance instead of reacting from fear or ego. The world will tell you to respond quickly, to clap back, to defend yourself. But God whispers, be still, and know that I am God. Psalm 46 verse 10. In stillness, you remember that he is your defender and your peace. So when you're faced with conflict or criticism, take a deep breath. Step back before you step in. Ask yourself, will my reaction reflect peace or pain? Then choose the response that honors your growth. The strongest person in the room is rarely the loudest. It's the one who stays still, centered, and confident in truth. Strength in stillness is the power to rise above without losing your peace, to endure without breaking, and to trust without fear. It's in the quiet moments that your soul grows strongest. Stay still, stay rooted, and let your peace do the talking. Chapter 7: The Superman Shield. Imagine for a moment that you're Superman. Bullets of criticism, judgment, and negativity are flying toward you, But instead of piercing your heart, they bounce right off your chest. You don't even flinch. You stand tall, calm, and confident because you know who you are and what you're made of. That's what inner peace and faith can do for you. They form a spiritual shield that protects you from the impact of other people's words. In life, you will encounter people who try to bring you down. They may throw insults, gossip, or judgment your way, hoping to see a reaction. But when you carry peace within you, their negativity can't stick. It may hit you for a moment, but it falls away harmlessly. Like Superman, your power comes not from aggression, but from strength under control. You don't need to fight every battle. Your shield, your faith, your self-respect, your spiritual grounding does the work for you. The truth is, no one can hurt you deeply with words unless you let those words enter your heart. When you believe in your worth, when you walk with God's confidence, you become untouchable. Their insults might echo for a moment, but they can't live in you unless you give them space. And the less you absorb, the stronger you become. The key is to remember that your identity is not up for debate. It's already established by the one who created you. Just like Superman doesn't argue with bullets, you don't have to argue with words. You can stand in quiet strength, knowing that your value doesn't depend on the opinions of others. People may try to define you, misunderstand you, or label you, but their opinions can't rewrite the truth. The shield of peace works best when you stay grounded in love, gratitude, and faith. When your heart is full of those things, negativity has nowhere to land. Think of your peace like spiritual armor. Ephesians 6 verse 11 says, "Put on the full armor of God, so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes." That armor includes truth, righteousness, faith, and salvation. When you walk in those things, no insult, no gossip, no act of hate can penetrate your soul. The darts may fly, but you'll stand firm because your spirit is protected by something much greater than yourself. It's also important to remember that strength doesn't mean coldness. You don't have to harden your heart to protect it. You just have to guard it. There's a difference between building walls and carrying a shield. A wall keeps love out, but a shield lets love in while blocking negativity. Your goal isn't to stop feeling. It's to stop allowing negative energy to define your feelings. You can still be kind, open, and compassionate while being protected. That's real power, being soft enough to love, but strong enough not to break. When you begin to live this way, something beautiful happens. The people who once tried to hurt you lose interest. Negativity feeds on reaction, but when there's no reaction, it starves. Those who thrive on conflict move on because they can't find weakness to exploit. Meanwhile, your life becomes more peaceful, your energy brighter, and your path clearer. You stop wasting time defending yourself and start using that time to grow, create, and love. Every morning you can pray for peace. Ground yourself in gratitude. Affirm your worth. And when negativity tries to come your way, smile and let it bounce off. You don't need to prove yourself. You just need to keep walking in truth. The world may throw its words, but your faith will catch them before they touch your heart. Remember, you don't have to stop to argue with hate. You were made to rise above, to shine, and to walk in unshakable peace. Chapter 8. The Mirror Principle, Neville Goddard's Wisdom. Neville Goddard once said, "Everyone is you pushed out." At first, that might sound confusing, but what he meant is that the people and experiences around you reflect what's happening inside of you. The world is like a mirror, showing you your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs in physical form. When someone shows kindness, it often mirrors the love and peace you've cultivated within yourself. When someone attacks or mocks you, it can sometimes reflect the insecurities, fears, or doubts that still live inside your heart. Understanding this principle can completely transform how you see others and yourself. It doesn't mean that every harsh word or cruel person is your fault. Rather, it's an invitation to look inward. When someone triggers you deeply, it's a sign that there's something inside of you asking to be healed. Instead of asking, "Why are they doing this to me?" try asking, "What is this showing me about myself?" That question moves you from being a victim of life to being the creator of it. It empowers you to take responsibility for your inner world so your outer world can change. God designed life in such a way that growth begins within. If your heart is filled with peace, forgiveness, and faith, that energy radiates outward. It shapes your relationships, your opportunities, and even the kind of people you attract. But when your heart carries unhealed pain or resentment, it often draws in people who mirror that pain back to you, giving you a chance to see it and release it. In that way, even difficult people can become your teachers, helping you to heal and evolve. When someone calls you names or speaks harshly, pause for a moment before reacting. Ask yourself, what is this revealing about my own feelings? Maybe it touches an old wound or an insecurity you've buried. By acknowledging it, you reclaim your power. Once you heal that inner part of you, those same comments no longer affect you in the same way. You'll notice that the more peace you create inside, the less negativity shows up outside. It's as if the mirror starts to reflect a new image, one of strength, joy, and confidence. Neville Goddard taught that changing your inner conversations changes your outer reality. If you keep repeating to yourself, "People always disrespect me," then life will keep showing you situations where you feel disrespected. But if you begin to affirm, "I am respected, I am loved, I am at peace," your experiences start to align with that truth. Your words, thoughts, and emotions are creative forces. They shape the reflection you see in the mirror of life. This principle aligns beautifully with Scripture. Proverbs 23 verse 7 says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." What you believe deep inside shapes the world around you. That means your healing, your peace, and your joy are not dependent on others. They begin with you. When you forgive, you free yourself. When you love, you attract love. When you believe you are worthy, the world begins to treat you that way. The mirror can only reflect what it sees. So the next time you face someone's negativity, instead of reacting, take it as a moment of reflection. Look inward with compassion, not judgment. Maybe this situation isn't here to hurt you. It's here to heal you. Maybe that person's words are simply showing you where you can love yourself more deeply. The world outside becomes more peaceful when the world inside does. When you practice the mirror principle with awareness and faith, life transforms. You stop seeing enemies and start seeing teachers. You stop fighting what happens and start learning from it. You realize that every interaction is an opportunity to grow in love, patience, and grace. And as your inner peace expands, your outer world begins to mirror that light back to you in ways that feel almost miraculous. Remember this truth. You can't always control the reflection, but you can always adjust the light. The brighter your inner world becomes, the more beautiful your outer world will look. Chapter 9. The Power of Positivity. Positivity is more than just smiling through life or pretending everything is fine. It's a conscious spiritual practice. It's choosing light when you could choose darkness, hope when you could choose fear, and love when you could choose bitterness. True positivity is not naive, it's powerful. It's an act of faith. It says, no matter what's happening around me, I will trust that something good can come out of this. When you make that decision, you invite God's presence into every situation, and His light begins to shine through you. The energy you carry affects everything you touch. When you walk into a room full of tension but bring a calm, positive spirit, you can feel the atmosphere change. People may not even realize why they feel lighter, but it's because peace carries power. Positivity doesn't just protect your own heart, it uplifts others. It turns arguments into conversations, fear into faith, and obstacles into opportunities. The more positivity you give, the more you receive, because love and light always multiply. But maintaining positivity isn't always easy. It requires awareness and practice. The world can be loud, and negativity is contagious if you're not careful. That's why it's so important to crank up your positivity. Fill yourself with what strengthens your spirit, uplifting words, gratitude, prayer, and time in God's presence. What you focus on grows. If you feed your mind with hope and gratitude, your heart will overflow with it, no matter what others say or do. Negativity thrives in darkness, but positivity is like sunlight. It makes the darkness disappear. When you choose to stay positive in the face of insult or adversity, you're not pretending the pain doesn't exist. You're simply refusing to give it control. You're saying, "This may hurt, but it won't define me." That mindset keeps your peace strong and your focus clear. It's not about ignoring the storm. It's about trusting that the storm will pass and that you'll come out stronger on the other side. Positivity also acts as a shield. When you stay grounded in gratitude, people's negativity can't attach to you easily. Their words might still reach your ears, but they won't reach your heart. It's like being surrounded by light so bright that darkness can't find a place to hide. The more positive you are, the less power negativity has over you. Darkness can't exist where there's light, and your light grows every time you choose kindness, forgiveness, or faith over anger and resentment. Sometimes your positivity will confuse people. They'll wonder how you can still smile after being insulted or stay calm when life feels unfair. That's because positivity is supernatural. It's fueled by divine strength, not human pride. Philippians 4 verse 13 says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." That includes staying positive in the face of negativity. You're not relying on your own power. You're drawing from a well that never runs dry. Being positive doesn't mean you have to be perfect or happy all the time. It means that even when you feel pain, you look for purpose. Even when you feel weary, you choose faith. And even when others are unkind, you choose to respond with love. That choice might seem small, but it changes everything. It breaks the cycle of negativity and sets a new tone, not only for your own life, but for everyone who crosses your path. When you radiate positivity, you become a living example of what peace looks like in motion. You show others that there is another way, a way of strength, grace, and joy that doesn't depend on outside circumstances. You become the kind of person who walks into chaos and brings calm, who meets hatred with compassion, and who refuses to be dragged into the mud. That's the power of positivity. It turns you into a light in a world that desperately needs it. So stay positive, not because life is always easy, but because God is always good. Let your faith fuel your optimism, your love fuel your strength, and your peace fuel your purpose. The brighter your spirit shines, the less the darkness can touch you. Be the light, and watch how the world begins to glow around you. Chapter 10, Becoming the Teacher. There's a saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. But what many people don't realize is that one day, you become that teacher. All the moments when you were misunderstood, criticized, or called names were not wasted. They were shaping you into someone wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. The very pain that once broke you becomes the wisdom that helps you guide others. Your peace becomes your message, and your life becomes the lesson. Every time you choose calm over chaos, love over hate, and forgiveness over bitterness, you're teaching. You may not even realize it, but people are watching how you respond. They see your grace under pressure, your ability to stay kind when others are cruel, and your peace in the middle of storms. Without ever preaching a word, your example becomes a living sermon. Sometimes the most powerful teachers don't use a podium, they use their life. The truth is, the world doesn't need more people shouting their opinions. It needs more people living their peace. It needs examples of quiet strength. Those who can stand firm without fighting back, who can forgive without needing revenge, who can love even when it's not returned. That's what it means to become a spiritual teacher. You teach by showing that it's possible to stay centered in God's love even in the middle of life's messiness. When you walk in peace, you remind others that they can, too. Your calmness gives them permission to slow down. Your kindness softens their defensiveness. Your forgiveness makes them question their anger. Every time you refuse to lower yourself to someone else's negativity, you show them a better way. You become a mirror of what's possible when a heart is anchored in God. Sometimes, the people who once mocked you will later come to you for advice. The ones who tried to tear you down will notice your joy and wonder how you found it. When that happens, don't boast. Teach with humility. Remember that you were once the student, too. Your goal is not to prove them wrong, but to show them what peace looks like. Be patient with those who are still learning. The same grace that carried you through your pain can now flow through you to help someone else. Becoming the teacher doesn't mean you're perfect. It means you're willing to grow openly. You still feel emotions, but you respond differently. You still face challenges, but you carry wisdom now. You know that peace isn't just a feeling, it's a lifestyle. And through your example, others learn that they, too, can find peace no matter what names are thrown at them or how dark their circumstances seem. Think of how Jesus taught, not just through words, but through presence, compassion, and truth. He didn't always argue or explain himself. He embodied peace. You have that same potential within you. Every moment you choose love, you're spreading His light. Every time you stay calm in chaos, you're teaching faith without even speaking. You become the kind of person who changes lives simply by being yourself. And that's the beautiful full circle of this journey. The person who once struggled to ignore negativity now teaches others how to rise above it. The one who once felt small now helps others stand tall. The one who once reacted with pain now responds with purpose. This is what it means to grow, not to escape the challenges, but to transform them into wisdom. So, as you walk forward, remember that your peace has power. Your patience is your strength. And your kindness, especially when it's hardest to give, is your greatest lesson. You are not just surviving the world's noise. You are teaching others how to find silence within it. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And now, dear reader, that teacher is you. Conclusion: living above the noise. You've come a long way on this journey. Through each chapter, you've learned that peace isn't something that just happens. It's something you choose. You've discovered that when others try to tear you down with words, it says more about what's happening inside of them than it does about you. You've learned the value of silence, the strength in stillness, and the power that comes from staying focused on your purpose instead of getting lost in distractions. But most importantly, you've learned that your peace is sacred. It's your divine connection to God, the still, quiet center that no insult, no opinion, and no negativity can touch unless you let it. When you walk with peace, you walk with power. You no longer live at the mercy of other people's moods or words. You rise above the noise and move in a different rhythm, the rhythm of grace. The world is full of voices, and not all of them are kind. But you now know how to filter the noise without letting it enter your heart. You know how to let words bounce off your spirit like rain off armor. You've learned to respond with wisdom, not reaction. And that strength will carry you far, not only in protecting your peace, but in inspiring others to protect theirs. Each moment of restraint, each breath you take before reacting, and each prayer you whisper instead of lashing out, all of it shapes you into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. You become a living example of what faith in action looks like. People may not understand your calm, but they will feel it. Your peace will speak for itself. Remember this truth. Your purpose is far greater than any insult. Your calling is bigger than any conflict. When you keep your focus forward, your light shining, and your spirit grounded, no one can pull you away from what God has designed for you. Life will still test you. There will still be people who misunderstand or misjudge you. But you'll no longer meet them on their level. You'll stay elevated, steady, and anchored in love. Let your life be a reflection of the lessons you've learned here. Be the calm voice in a loud world. Be the example of grace under pressure. Be the one who teaches by living with kindness, forgiveness, and peace. Because every time you choose peace, you make the world a little brighter. As you walk away from this book, carry this final truth with you. No one can take your peace unless you hand it to them. Guard it, nurture it, and let it guide you. Keep growing, keep loving, and keep shining. You are not defined by what others call you. You are defined by how you rise above it. You are light. You are strength. You are peace. And the world is better because of it.